because according to him who received the money, he received part payment already. But in the records of that organization paying, it's still a full amount that is there. So we need to actually clean up this. I don't see if there's any body benefiting unduly, which is what it is. It is the lack of the structured system that gives opportunity for somebody to see that there's a loophole to go and capitalize on. If the payment system was quite clear that when your project is supposed to be funded by road fund, you have no way. It's just like working at Parliament and deciding that I want to take my salary at the Electricity Company of Ghana. We don't do that. So why is it that when we are doing government projects, people can move certificate from A to B like that? So from last year, you cannot move certificate from one entity to another. When your project is GOG, you are stuck there. Whenever GOG gets money, they pay you. If it's road fund, you have to stay there. When we get money, we pay you. But until then, we need to deal with what we are having now. So that is what I think the situation should be. We need to fix the whole system, which is right from Minister of Finance to the entities.
Chairman, thank you. Small follow-up. Honourable Minister, when you contract and jobs are done and IPCs are submitted, and you take steps to redeem them by way of payment, do the contractors acknowledge receipt of payment? Do you have any such process?
Very important question, actually. No. At least as a minister, I've never had any. In fact, what you rather hear is, they've not paid me. When they are paid, then no, good news is no news, I think. So it is when they are not paid and they are struggling that they keep telling you, I've raised a certificate for the past 2 years, I'm not paid. But as I keep explaining to Minister of Finance, there should be a very simple system where when a certificate enters the system, it should be easy for the entity to know what the certificate is about. The day it is paid, anybody who opens that page should be able to see this certificate has been paid, the date, and where the source of funding is. Until we get that done, currently, I don't even, so we say things like, when you even say that we owe contractors, let's say road fund, 11 billion, that would have been my understanding yesterday. By the close of today, that money could have been less or more, depending on what payments have gone through or have not gone through. But we need to have a fit-for-purpose system where contracting and payment for works done is quite simple and clear for everybody to see.
Minister, you know, the finance minister mentioned that we need to augment the GIFMIS, because once you do that, you will, the schedule officer would be able to see, one, the IPCs that have been generated and paid for, and at a click of a button, they can print it out to be shared. So maybe you also need to encourage the Minister of Finance to look for money to open up the GIFMIS and all the other functions that the GIFMIS is supposed to perform. It's all about money. So find money to invest in the GIFMIS so that all these functions can be activated. Once they're activated, it will make things quite easier for all of us. But I also want to encourage the ministries, departments, and agencies to, on their own, have some form of reconciliation. Even if it's a manual reconciliation, you have your manual, and then you can have what is on the system, so that you can cross-check. So on our own, we do our manual, but then the most important thing is augmenting the GIFMIS and enabling the GIFMIS to have all the functions that it ought to have. I know it's all about money, and I'll encourage that you urge the minister to find some money somewhere to open up the GIFMIS so that it will be easier for you, especially when I look at the quantum of liabilities that was sent by the road ministry, and the fact that you still have a huge sum that you need to supply the auditors with documentation to enable them validate as to whether they are rejecting or they are accepting it. So it's a big deal, especially for Ministry of Roads. So I ask that you impress upon the minister to find some money to let the functions work on GIFMIS, and things will be easier for most of the ministries, departments, and agencies.
Chair, you are very right. In fact, I think we were one of the first people who went to Ministry of Finance and suggested that we needed to get assistance from the state to be able to do this. We are largely an engineering organization. We build roads and maintain roads. We are not accountants. So when you create a situation where we now need to be tracking payments, deducting taxes and other things, our engineers are not trained to do those kind of things. So there should be, it should be done, somebody called foolproof. So if you put in a certificate of 10 cedis, whatever taxes are supposed to be deducted on that should not be the responsibility of any engineer or QS at the agencies. It should just be done automatically. But I am aware that the discussions about updating the existing GIFME system is ongoing and is supposed to be government-led, not entities-led, so that everybody will fall in line. And I agree with you. It is needed extremely, right now, we need to fix that now.
Chairman, before Duke takes over, Honorable Minister, when you were a leader here, you placed me on this committee. And the work we do is to lead to reforms. So I want to suggest that going forward, put up a system where every contractor that you contract to undertake any form of work for you, when they get paid, you could just assign one officer. They should acknowledge receipt of payment and build that database. You know, it will help to reduce some of the problems that we face. And I think that it will help everybody. Other ministries should also learn from this. So, Duke, if you may.
Auditors, please. Did you get any assistance from the internal audit unit at the ministry to arrive at this number and then also to make the recommendations for the ministry going forward?
Honorable Chair, we worked mostly with the CFOs, the procurement officers, on this. The information we requested, some came from internal audit, as well. So my understanding is that they were involved in the process.
Question for the Minister. Minister, the recommendations made by the auditors, have you begun a process to implement, or you're waiting on funds to be able to do that?
I can see here on this particular one, they made 3 different recommendations. We are in a process of, some of them are things that we have started putting structures in place within the organizations. Others will require the Ministry of Finance intervention. So I'm reliably informed they've started working on some of these things.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. Thank you.
All right. The next is Honorable Cletus, page 34.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Page 34. Chairman, basically, my infraction has to do with virtually the same statement that the Director of Finance made. We honestly needed to have Ministry of Finance here because this infraction is validation of arrears and payables and commitment. So the ministry sent claims and commitments to the auditors or the Ministry of Finance. And probably by the time they sent the claims and commitment, ministry had paid some contractors. So it's basically the same thing. So you have an amount totaling 264.145 million duplicated in outstanding payables and commitment reported by the Ministry of Roads and Highways. If you take volume 2 of the report, appendix 2, you will see some 18 projects, volume 2 of the report, appendix 2, page 21 of this document, volume 2. So if you are there, Director of Finance, are you there? Minister, are we together? Okay, so volume 2, page 21, you see 18 projects. And when you come to the comment section, you see company one, you see amount is duplicated in claims and commitment. Amount is duplicated in claims and commitment, and they mention the amount. Project 2, amount is duplicated in claims and commitment. Then you come to some of them, amount duplicated in BTAs, bank transfers advice. So Chairman, we need some serious reconciliation if we honestly want to proceed to do this job well.
I agree with you, Honorable Member.
Yes.
And this is where Ministry of Finance should be here.
Yes.
You see, when it comes to roads,
Yes.
sometimes most of these contractors would go to a higher authority somewhere.
I know.
And that person will call Ministry of Finance, pay that road contractor. And when the finance cannot say no. So when they pay, by the time they send the claims over there, that person has already been paid. Isn't that the truth? Hey.
You see, Chairman, to add to this, you see, when you say amount is duplicated in claims and commitment, it's not paid. It's not paid. You understand? It's something that is in the system that could be paid, but it's not paid. So that's why I worry that we need to have them so that we can do some reconciliation with the ministry, rules, and then the auditors, so that we can have at least authentic document to work with. If not, if we sit and to go through, because they are saying amount, amount is duplicated in claims. It's not money paid to the contractor. It's not paid yet. Or auditors, can you help us in this regard?
Okay, then.
Go to the volume 221. You see some 18 projects, and you will see the comment section, what you kept there.
Honorable Chair, as the finding clearly stated, these were duplicated. So they have, on the schedule of outstanding payables, they have been duplicated. So you see on the outstandings twice. So the details we've provided here, the amount duplicated in claims and commitments, what it means is that that amount is in commitments, at the same time it is in claims. So it's a duplicate. Those that are duplicated in claims and BTAs, what it means is that you see it in the claims, at the same time you see it in BTA. So that is the point that we sought to make.
So that is where finance is so key here. We need the reconciliation to be able to tell the claims and then those in duplicate.
Honorable Chair, what we did in engaging the Ministry of Roads and Highways, these amounts were rejected. So those amounts that were in claims and commitments, we looked at the supporting document. If an IPC had been submitted, then it should be in claims and not in commitment. So the amount in commitment was then rejected. When it comes to the claims and BTAs, we looked at the supporting documents. If it had moved to the BTA stage, then the one in claims was also rejected.
Chairman, if you come back to volume 1, page 34, you see, 1, the certified amount had not been deducted from the outstanding commitment after the IPC had been received and vetted pending payment process. That's 1. 2, the amount was not removed from the list of claims after a payment voucher had been prepared and approved and submitted to controller via GiveMix for payment.
Yes, Honorable Member, that's what the auditor was talking about. So we need some, but Minister of Roads, you were there for the exit interview.
Exercise, yes.
Speak through the microphone so
Yes.
that Ghanaians will hear you.
Yes. You see, probably, let me make this point. You know, it's a cycle. It's a cycle. So commitments in our records are commitments. There is a point they move through the payment cycle. So you get to a point at a BTA, it moves through controller. So they move from there are still commitment in our records because they've not been paid yet. So there are certain times it moves to a BTA level, which means that it's at a point of payment. Until it is paid, we are unable or unwilling to remove it from our records. It is only when it is paid, and merely it is paid, we are notified and in the system, and we take it off our list of commitments. That's how the process works. And you see, the GiveMix system is the objective. One of the objectives was to remove human interface. So, for instance, you will not have internal auditors doing pre-audit of the items before, because they have access to the GiveMix to do real-time auditing of events, right? So you may not have a supplier coming to issue you with a receipt unless you demand so. And certain times we are even reluctant because the idea was to remove the human interface and to minimize corruption, because there was the intention that if you have that contact, that is where it brings corruption. So that is how the system is designed. If we are doing things properly, and I think that respectfully, Mr. Chairman understands the system very well, that some things, payment can be done at the Ministry of Finance without recourse risk. And it's rampant. We used to see it every day. And we just hope that it doesn't continue. But if we are doing things through the GiveMix system, we should not have any problem at all. For the system is watertight. And you cannot pay an IPC twice. There's no way in the GiveMix system that you can pay an invoice twice. It's not possible. I say it categorically. It's not possible.
Chairman, I will end my questions here, except to emphasize that the chair lady and yourself, good self, should expedite action by letting finance do the reconciliation properly, proper reconciliation with the auditors. Then we can interrogate the issues better. Thank you.
The one.
Chairman, thank you for the opportunity. I just want to ask the auditors a question. In their explanation, it's obvious that it's the audit process that helped us to uncover some of these issues. And as the minister said, where he gave the instance of a particular contractor being called, and he said he's owed less than 300 million. I want to ask the auditors, but for the audit, could the system have allowed
for the payment of that 500 million if the contractor was not called?
It may or it may not.
Maybe Mr. Chairman, the minister can help.
You see, there shouldn't be any need for reconciliation if the system works very well. Assuming you were awarded a project for 10 cities. A regional director of highways in OT is looking after the project. They raise a certificate of 2 cities. Automatically, by the time he finishes that process, that amount that should be seen as commitment yet to be honored should automatically be 8 cities. The auditors, when they go to the system, as he said that it was supposed to remove human interface, should see automatically that the contract was 10 cities. We have raised a certificate of 2 cities, whether paid or not, should be there. The day it is paid, there should be something in the system that says that it is paid. The process where we are now going back to ask people, including that contractor, were you paid? How on earth were we thinking that we can actually solve this problem? Okay, that one contractor said, I was already paid. Imagine everybody else who said, no, I was not paid. So technology exists for us to basically clean up this. And you see, the auditors, what they were even doing was just looking at the face value of the certificate. They are not engineers. So in actual fact, they are validating what is on the face of that. So the real auditors of roadworks has to come back to the agencies under the ministry, because they are the only ones who can tell when the person says, the contractor is being paid for sealing a road or patching a pothole. They are the only ones who can tell whether that activity has already taken place or not. So let's put in place a system which doesn't need me or anybody else to validate whether this thing has been done or not. That is the only way out. From now, in fact, the last payment we did, I took all the directors, or some of the directors, to Ministry of Finance to ask. The Ministry of Finance was also there. But that is just a meeting. We don't even need to do that. That should have been an automatic system that when contractor A has been paid for doing X as part of his scope, that should be automatic for everybody to see, including the auditors. So the bottom line here is for us to build a fit for purpose. The existing gift mix have served a purpose. Indeed, it has improved. But things have moved on so much that we need a higher level of interface with that. You talk about this. What about the fact that some of the projects you are talking about here to be paid, there was no commitment authorization even for it? i.e., the Ministry of Finance wasn't even aware that we at the Ministry of Road were committing the state to that level of expenditure. And it's all over the place. Yet the Ministry of Finance gets a certificate. And sometimes a powerful contractor can go to, as His Excellency Mills said, with one front page of a certificate that is how much they owe me. And in his word, somebody can make a phone call and say, pay this contractor. Auditors are not aware. Agencies under the ministry are not aware. Somehow, that person gets paid. Only one day for us to carry out this exercise, for somebody to know that that certificate has already been paid.
Minister, this is a structural problem. And that is why we also have professionals aside engineers. We have other professionals in the road ministry that are supposed to do their work. Aside the engineers, they are professionals, they are accountants, they are procurement officers. They are all the chain of professionals who are there. These certificates that you are talking about, the one-pager, certainly it comes from somebody from Roads and Highways, because they won't come and show something to a minister that is not from Roads and Highways. So aside us looking for better systems, improved systems, we, the human beings also, we need to check ourselves, change our attitude. Sometimes they tell you, but is this for your father or your mother? They do things anyhow. We all know it. And it's very, very easy to push it on the politicians. But then you have professionals in the ministry that are also supposed to discharge their mandate. So, Minister, in as much as we want to look for systems, we the human beings, we the citizens of this country, we should take, matters into our own hands. Wherever you are placed, it can be quack, quack, quack. It can be quick, 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 quick. Let's make money. Minister, are you aware that in certain places, some officers, when they are taken off their schedule, they'll go heaven and earth to make sure they are placed back in that schedule? You ask yourself, why? So, Minister, in as much as we want to do this, we also have to preach attitudinal change. The way we do our things, our responsibility to our nation. It is not just the politicians, it is all of us. It is all of us. This is a charge we have to keep as citizens if we want to make things better. Because I look at some of the things coming from the road ministry. They are human beings who do that. They are officers, professionals, for God's sake, professionals who compile these things, who know very well that the contractor there has not done the road to a standardized size. But then, what I will get from it, the cut I will be given, if I'm able to prepare this IPC and send to, not even to Ministry of Finance, to the next stage. So, Minister, it is bigger than just systems. We have to also start talking about attitudinal change. And that is why we engage ourselves here, because this is how we can help bring that awareness to all of us. We are all culprits.
Chair, I think you are very right. The purpose of this is to make sure we improve the systems. And you stopped at both just the contractor, the politicians and the other people. On many occasions, we've had situations where a road project has been done and it has failed within a very short period of time. There was even a third-party consultant paid fees 6%, 10%, but who certified that this project was done according to the scope and let pay. Guess what? I've never heard anybody ask, why is that